Erik Ten Hag is in hot soup because the board of Man United has gone ahead to obviously blame him for really making signings that are not agreed on by the board of Man United. And this is how this board has been doing work. Whenever a signing is doing great, they obviously come out and obviously attach themselves to themselves that John Mata went ahead to do some good amount of work to bring this player in. And when a signing is doing bad, news comes out when they're really referring to that signing as the manager. But in this generation, in this era, that can no longer really work according to us, because we know the best of the best for this club of Manchester United. The Glazers and the board are known for obviously doing what we call a blackmail onto the manager, especially in times like this. They don't want to take the blame. They don't want to share the blame. They are just blame shifting. Welcome to United Matters channel. How are you guys and where you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Ten Hag has also gone ahead to be accused of really using his agency to bring in players at the club of Man United, and Casemiro is really geared up for the Champions League, and the same applies to Facundo. Pelestri has gone ahead to obviously let us know what he thinks about the Champions League. So guys, thank you for watching through. Let's see close to 300 likes much on this video, and let's continue to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. It's obviously a Tuesday, meaning that on Wednesday, that's when we're going to play our first Champions League game ever since Ten Hag became a manager for Manchester United. We kickstart off with this story coming in from United Marketeers, and he has gone ahead and told us that the Man United recruitment team don't think Sofyan Amrabat will succeed in England. He's an Erik Ten Hag target. Now, why does a story like this get put out in a moment in which we are in? We all know that, sorry about that, we've gone ahead to lose how many games? 3 out of the 5. And why are such statements coming out that they don't think Sofyan Amrabat will succeed in England? That is really something stupid. Does this really connect with what the board really did and failed to sell Scott McTominay to provide money to recruit Sofyan Amrabat? I'd like to let you know that none of the people at Man United were really technical, are better at recruiting players than Erik Ten Hag. That is it. None of the people there is more technical at recruiting players like Erik Ten Hag, because we've obviously gone ahead and seen what Ten Hag has gone ahead to do at the club of Manchester United. You know, when you look at Ajax, you know, with the limited budget, he managed to reach the semi-finals of the Champions League. Now, I want to ask those people at the board of Man United, when did we last ever really get out of the group stages of the Champions League ever since Alex Ferguson left? Have we ever even gone out of the out of the group stages? Because I remember when David Moyes came in through, it's Bayern that knocked us out, right? Ever since then, even when Mourinho was here, did we get out of the group stages? Yeah, we got out of the group stages, I think once, but when did we last reach the semi-final of the Champions League? And trust me, the budget of United, you know, that are going ahead to spend every season, Ajax have never gone ahead to spend it. And the last time the most expensive player they've gone ahead to sign was Sebastian Haller, and they paid close to, was it 20 million euros? That is it. And that is Ajax for you. So it shows you that he was good at recruiting players that really have he was good at recruiting players of good quality that can come in through and compete at high levels. When you look at that squad that he really built, you know, Matthias de Ligt, Donny van de Beek, Frankie de Jong, Hakimi Ziyech. When you leave that, there are other players that obviously were into that era that he built a new one in the season of 2020-2021. Julian Timber, Lisandro Martinez, Tagliafico, Mazrui, Gravenberch, Edson Alvarez, Anthony. So no one has the right at Man United to obviously talk about Erik ten Hag and the signings he's making, that they're not going to succeed at Man United, because I can easily pose a question to them. How many signings have they gone ahead to make that have gone ahead to succeed at Man United? I pose the question to them, to that board of Manchester United, Mr. John Mata, why do you always shift the blame when the team is performing badly? When the team is performing well, you put out stories that really hail you and don't hail the manager. You get? When the team is performing badly, it's the manager that is responsible. And trust me, you're going to get ashamed. If Sofyan Amrabat returns and plays in that midfield of Man United, he's better than many of the players we got. He's better than Scott McTominay, a player that you refused to sell because you wanted to block the transfer of Sofyan Amrabat. And the reason as to why you never wanted to pay cash to make the deal of Sofyan Amrabat permanent has been gotten out, that you never believed in Sofyan Amrabat, and Ten Hag was pushing to get in that player. That's why you signed a contract that was a loan with a buy option that is not mandatory, that if at all United don't sign Sofyan Amrabat will automatically renew his contract at Fiorentina for 1 more year. That is it. This is the board of Man United, good at blame shifting, because the team is not performing well and they are being questioned why they've gone ahead to sign 2 players, both with back injuries. Rasmus Højlund had to obviously spend almost a month without kicking a ball for Man United. For Sofyan Amrabat, he's also going to spend the same amount of period. Remember, we signed him on the deadline day, that was the 1st of September. He came in at Man United and they said he had a back injury. He went for the international break, and guess what happened? They brought him on precaution, and he's out. That is Sofyan Amrabat for you. Now, as it stands, Sofyan Amrabat is injured, and they are not wanting to take the blame. They are shifting the blame from them to Erik ten Hag, because they know that they've gone ahead to make 2 mistakes. Now, I would like to ask you, is Ten Hag responsible for doing the medicals for the players we sign? So they did this all in the name of obviously blame shifting, because they knew that if they really told him don't bring in Sofyan Amrabat, he was telling them, I need a midfielder. You are not good at selling, you are not good at buying. What are you good at? So leave Erik ten Hag alone. It's you who are the problem. The problem is not the manager, the problem are you, because he wanted Kim Min-jae. Did you get him Kim Min-jae? No. He wanted Rasmus Højlund and Harry Kane. Did you get him Harry Kane? You didn't. You get? He wanted Sofyan Amrabat to arrive here early enough. Did you make that signing early enough? So don't at any time shift the blame from Erik ten Hag. Ten Hag is just improvising because of you not being good at your job. You are shit at doing your job, and I don't know why the club pays you that amount of money. So don't blame Erik ten Hag for bringing in Sofyan Amrabat. And when you look at the likes of Rasmus Højlund, he's the one responsible for bringing the club Man United. Everyone is really happy for this boy to be playing at Man United. That's why you saw to it that they booed Anton Martial when he came on through and Rasmus Højlund was being taken off. Now we get Matt Hughes, chief sports reporter, Daily Mail, confirming us that concerns have raised within Man United over the increasing involvement of Erik ten Hag's agent, Kees Vos, in the club's transfer activities. Now, this club of Man United is really good at blame shifting. We all know the reason as to why Rasmus Højlund is at the club of Man United. Don't you know it? Rasmus Højlund was a player that Ten Hag really wanted, and it was Eriksson that really discovered or scouted this player and told Erik ten Hag there is a player called Rasmus Højlund and he's really good. And in March, talks commenced and Erik Ten Hag for easy purchase of the player. I don't see it really goes anywhere because this guy is a raw talent, and Ten Hag looks at him as a raw diamond that he can obviously polish and obviously turn him into better. He decided to tell Rasmus Højlund, because his contract was expiring with his former agency or company that was managing him, and he told him that sign with the Sage agency, then for 4 months, and if they fail to deliver it to Man United, then you look for another agent. And that's what Erik Ten Hag really did, and Rasmus Højlund came in at Man United. Now, the board of United are trying to throw what we call rotten eggs to Erik Ten Hag by saying that they are not okay with the involvement of his agency. Now, if Erik Ten Hag has an agency that has good players, is it a crime? Is it a crime? You know, we know some managers like Mikel Arteta, you know, his agent is the same agent with certain players that Arsenal were linked to. So, should we also attack Mikel Arteta for that? All these stories are being put out in the media to obviously blackmail the name of Erik Ten Hag because things are not going well. And if at all these players really start performing well, you'll see to it that stories will be put out by the sources close to the club that Rasmus Højlund was a very good deal. John Mata pioneered it. He talked everything and executed very well, and that's why he's going to hate to obviously be at the club of Man United. He stupidly went ahead and put an article in the news that Mason Mount, we did some good business because 55 million pounds being rejected, we accepted to put there 5 million pounds of add-ons, but they are really hard add-ons to be really reached or completed, you know. And he was hailing himself about that. And guess what? Out of the signings we're going to have to bring in at Man United, who looks like he's going to be a flop? It's Mason Mount. Sofyan Amrabat has not yet kicked a ball, but we know what he gives us. You know, Andre Onana is good. Rasmus Højlund is good. You know, even those that we signed on a loan. Look at Sergio Roglan. He really looked great. You know, when you're playing Brighton. So I don't want these things of blame shifting, and I hate it when I see a board, instead of obviously putting out stories that are really positive ahead of the game of Bayern Munich, why should they let out conversations like this? They shouldn't let out conversations like this because they don't matter anymore. What matters is, why are we having 9 players injured? Why are we having 9 players injured? The board has to answer that. The physio team is questionable. And they have to come in through and obviously tell us the truth why this is happening at the club of Man United. This is unacceptable. The club is performing bad because almost 50% of the squad is injured. You get? If Ten Hag had Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez in our central defense against Arsenal, the result would have been different. Even against Brighton would have been different. You understand? Because Luke Shaw, Rafael Varane are leaders. If you had Sofyan Amrabat playing the double pivot with Casemiro, would have been a different result altogether, because would have gone ahead to control that midfield better and having another busy physical body into that midfield. You know? Even if at all Mason Mount was really fit, would have gone ahead to change something in any game. Maybe the game of Arsenal, because in the game of Arsenal, we needed a midfielder to come on, you know, because Eriksson was burnt out, and we had no one. Even the game of Brighton, that's why the manager went ahead to bring on Hannibal to play that role. So, the board of Man United is the one to blame for everything happening at the club of Man United. Let no one really deceive you with this. All the players that Erik Ten Hag has gone ahead to sign have gone ahead to perform. Even Anthony, who looks like a flop, has gone ahead to score some good goals and put in some assists, though he has gone ahead to get problems this season. So I anticipate that this is blame shifting that we're not going to accept at the club of Man United. So guys, your thoughts on Ten Hag in hot soup for Amrabat signing are welcome in the comment section below. And what do you make about these statements being put out by the board of Man United to the news to obviously see to it that more thorns are put into the skin of Erik Ten Hag. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living to God bless you abundantly. I've not discussed Casemiro and Pelestri because I never wanted us to have a really long video, right? I want us to obviously have a very, very, very good conversation in the morning about the Champions League, and we sign out. The Muslim viewers and subscribers, Barakallahu Fikum.